Hello, everyone. Welcome to Keene Observations. I am your host, Chris Keene. We have a lot to talk about today. We had another domestic terrorist attack in Minnesota. Some ICE agents were attacked by a violent criminal, and we're going to get into that. Man killed by federal agents in Minneapolis was holding a phone, not a gun.
The first video we have of Alex Pretty, he's in the road, holding a phone and talking with a federal agent. The officer pushes him, and he steps back.
Now, the man has a phone. People forget how dangerous that can be. I mean, is this the new iPhone? The new iPhone, this officer doesn't know the features on the new iPhone. There could be anything in there, a flamethrower, darts that shoot out. Apple, they're always coming up with new things. You don't know what's going to be on that phone. Does he have the new iOS update? Who knows what's on there? There could be bullets flying out of the new iPhone. We don't know. They're always improving. Now, on top of that, there's a flashlight on this iPhone. He could turn that thing on full blast, blind the officer for life. Shine that flashlight right in his eye. This officer's scared for his life right now. Maybe he's taking a picture. Maybe he could be at a bad angle. You want to have fat face in a photo? I know he's got a mask on, but you can still look fat in a mask. This man could be taking an ugly photo of the officer. We can't be having that. That's putting this man's life at risk. Maybe he's going to play some music off Spotify, My iPhone gets loud. My iPhone's louder than most stereos. You turn the volume way up, you start rocking out little Nirvana maybe. Dun 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 dun. When those drums kick in and those guitars, the guy could be deaf by the end of that song. So the phone is a very dangerous weapon. People are acting like the phone is somehow safer than a gun. We don't know, especially with the new updates. And the new iPhones, they do everything. That could be a nuke. Maybe this guy has a nuke in his phone. We don't know that. So this officer's life is at risk.
In others, Alex Pretty had nothing in one hand, a phone in the other. We see two people interacting with an agent. We then see an agent push one of those people, then push the second person.
Now, see, these women are standing in front of this officer. Anytime you have a woman standing in front of you, it's natural reaction to push them on the ground. That's dangerous behavior to have a woman standing there. That woman could do anything. They're clearly impeding this officer's job by standing in the street.
Pretty steps between them and the agent and is
pepper spraying.
He's wrestled to the ground by a number of agents.
Look at how much danger these officers are in. This one guy on 5 guys, this guy could do anything. They don't know. Maybe he's got superhuman strength. They've just met this man. They don't know what he's capable of.
His hands are on the floor, and he's struggling against being held down.
Look at that. He still has the phone. Now he has the phone. The phone is pointed up, and you see the officer's crotches there. Maybe he's taking a photo of his junk. Maybe he's going to upload that to Pornhub. We don't know. This officer's genitals could be on the internet. We got Pretty there on the ground taking photos of the ICE officer and his penis. He's going to post revenge porn of this officer. He's scared. He's probably married with kids. He has kids to think about. He doesn't want his junk on the internet because of some domestic terrorist.
Agent repeatedly strikes in the direction of his head.
Now there you go. The Pretty's on the ground, and he keeps hitting his head on the officer's hand. Now the officer's he's just doing a little dance there. And this guy on the ground, his head is right in the way of the little dance that the officer's doing. He was just celebrating because they made a capture here. And the guy's got his head on the ground right in the way of the arm.
Take note of this agent. He has nothing in his right hand, reaches down and removes what appears to be a gun from Alex Pretty's waistband. Then he steps back, holding the pistol. which appears to match this image shared by the authorities. Carrying this type of gun is legal in Minnesota with a valid permit. The police say they believe Alex Pretty had one. Less than a second after the gun is removed.
So the man is armed. The man is armed. I think we can all agree Americans don't have the right to carry a gun. We all agree on that. Anyone who carries a gun in America is a domestic terrorist. We know that. We all agree on that. No one in America should have a gun. That's something we all agree on. So I don't know why this man has a concealed carry
Agent
gun.
fires the first shot. As Alex Pretty...
Now, of course he shot him. He's on the ground with 5 guys on top of him. He's a threat. Again, they just met this man. He has a phone. The phone could do anything. This man could do anything. He could be anyone. Like I said, he could have superhuman strength. They don't know. They could throw him off. He could throw all of them off him. Maybe he's an X-Man. We don't know. Why do you think Marvel movies are so big? These people... Have you been watching Candace Owens? There are people with powers. Charlie Kirk, this guy, they're out there. They don't know. This guy could hulk up. He could hulk up and kill all of them. So you have to shoot.
Is motionless. Further shots are fired while agents are standing clear of his body. In total, 10 shots were fired in 5 seconds. In all,
10 shots in 5 seconds. That's how you responsibly neutralize a domestic terrorist. This man was a threat on the ground 10 feet away from the officers. That's a very violent threat. He had a phone. He had a gun 10 feet away from him. Maybe this man has telepathy. You ever think that? Maybe he can move things with his mind. Maybe he picks that. Have you seen Stranger Things? Maybe this is Will from Stranger Things. Maybe he picks up the gun with his mind. Little telekinesis. He starts shooting all the officers. They don't know. They just watched the season finale of Stranger Things. They're thinking maybe this guy's from the upside down. Maybe he can move things with his mind. Maybe he's going to lift that gun up, take our guns. And on top of that, he's got a phone with a flashlight that could blind us, with Spotify that could make us deaf, with a camera that could make us look fat in a photo, that's taking pictures of an officer's genitals that he's going to put on the internet. This is dangerous stuff. These officers thankfully defended themselves.
These videos. We don't see Alex Pretty holding a gun. But once more, we have seen an American killed in the street.
But again, we don't know. We don't know. He could get that gun moving. We don't know what's happening. There could be a gun in the phone. These new phones, they do everything. They do everything. I think there's a kill ICE agent app. I'm pretty sure there's an app for that. Kill an ICE agent. There's an app for that. It's gone viral. This guy could have the Kill ICE agent app. We don't know.
By federal agents, followed by the Trump administration making claims about what happened.
Okay, so here's a more sped up version of this. Now again, this man is trying to protect these women here who are also domestic terrorists. They're standing in the street, being women. I mean, you can't just stand in the street as a woman. That is dangerous. Putting these officers' lives at risk. Now we got 5 guys on one.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Look at how much danger these officers are in. They got 5 guys on top of one guy who has no weapon except the phone, which, as we covered, very dangerous weapon. Now, the only way to neutralize this suspect here is to shoot him. I mean, how else are you going to have a guy on the ground with 5 guys on top of him? Now, let's see what happens here. He's on the ground. He's on his knees. And see, there you go. He's on his knees. He's a threat. And now they're shooting from 10 feet away. They keep shooting because
What the fuck did you just
his
do?
motionless body, maybe his spirit is going to come out and attack the officers. They don't know. So they have to keep shooting. That's the only way to ensure that that is taken care of. Federal officers sought to portray a 37-year-old Minneapolis resident killed by Border Patrol agents on Saturday as a domestic terrorist, saying he wanted to massacre law enforcement. The man had a phone. When I think of someone who's trying to commit a massacre, I think a guy with an iPhone. That's what I think. I see him every day. Everyone in America is walking around with these phones. I'm thinking, is that guy going to do a massacre right now? They could be massacring all around Los Angeles right now, all around America. I walk around Hollywood. I see them on their phones. I'm thinking, that guy looks like Adolf Hitler right now. There goes Joseph Stalin with his iPhone. He's about to commit a massacre. Watch out. That's what I'm thinking. This guy could have killed millions in a massacre with an iPhone. What do you think these iPhones were made for? They were made for massacres. Even as videos emerged that appeared to directly contradict that account. Well, they only contradict it because the ICE officers thankfully neutralized this terrorist before he committed the massacre. That phone could have detonated. Boom, the whole place goes up. There could be a nuke in that phone. You've seen what Israel does with the pagers. You saw that. That could be on the new iPhone. These officers don't know. So thankfully, the massacre was prevented. But these people don't understand. The only reason the video doesn't show the massacre is because the ICE officers saved us. The man, Alex Jeffrey Preddy, was an intensive care nurse described by the Minneapolis police chief as a U.S. citizen with no criminal record. But the thing is, someone with no criminal record, that just means they're due for a crime. So actually, someone with no criminal record is more dangerous, I would say, because they haven't committed a crime yet. That means they're due for one. So you really have to watch out for the people with no criminal record. They're dangerous. You never know what someone with no criminal record is going to do because he's thinking, God, I've never done anything wrong. I got to do something wrong. And you know what? These ICE officers might be my chance. On top of that, he's a U.S. citizen. That's bad on itself. I mean, we can't be letting U.S. citizens film people with their phones. That is not protected under the First Amendment at all. Federal officials said he was armed, but there is no sign in videos analyzed by the New York Times that he pulled his weapon. He had the phone. I mean, you see clear as day he's got the phone. The flashlight, the camera, the loud music he could play. It disorients people. These officers could affect their inner ear. They could get all messed up. They could get vertigo. They put on a little Metallica too loud. Dun, dun, ding, dun, 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 ding. Before you know it, those officers, their ears are blown out. Then you turn the flashlight on, they can't see. Agents even knew he had one. There's no evidence the agents even knew he had one until he was already pinned on the sidewalk. I'd say he was even more dangerous pinned on the sidewalk because you don't know. It's like a caged animal. You don't know what he's going to do. An agent had already removed Mr. Preddy's gun when two other agents opened fire, shooting him in the back as he lay on the ground. At least 10 shots were fired, killing him. Mr. Preddy had a legal permit to carry a firearm, said the police chief, Brian O'Hara. Carrying a firearm in America? That's domestic terrorism. We can't have that here. This isn't Europe. Federal agents deployed tear gas and flashbangs to drive demonstrators away from the shooting scene as they demanded that local police officers arrest the agents who killed Mr. Preddy. Now, I'm glad we're using tear gas and flashbangs on U.S. citizens because that's how we fight illegal immigration. That's how we stop these dangerous illegal immigrants is we tear gas American citizens. We shoot American citizens in the back. That's how you stop the illegal immigrants from doing it. We can't have them stealing American jobs. Killing American citizens, that's ICE's job. We can't have these illegals stealing those American jobs. Those are good old-fashioned, homegrown American government jobs for you and me. We can join $50,000 joining bonus just to get out there and shoot some of our fellow citizens in the face. That's the American dream. And I'm not going to let some guy from Somalia come in here and steal that from me, all right? If anyone's going to kill American citizens, it's going to be me, goddammit, not some guy from Zimbabwe, okay? This is America. Officials said protests in Minneapolis had remained mostly peaceful, with a few exceptions. The tear gas and the flashbangs in the shooting people in the back and in the face, that really helps it be peaceful. If anything's keeping the peace, it's tear gas, flashbangs, pushing women down and shooting women in the face and shooting men while they're on the ground with their back to you. That's how you keep the peace. This is about law and order. This is law and order. That's what this is about. Nothing keeps law and order like shooting people in the back and in the face. That's how you keep the peace. That's how you keep people protected. That's how we care for our citizens. We shoot them. We tear gas them. But as dusk fell, officials deployed the National Guard to ensure that demonstrations did not turn violent. At least 1,000 people turned out for a vigil for Mr. Pretty in Whittier Park on Saturday night, despite sub-zero temperatures. A colleague of Mr. Pretty, Dmitry Drakonja, sounds like an illegal to me. Has anyone noticed that? Hanging out with Dmitry here. Really, where's Dmitry from? So his colleague said he had worked as a nurse at the Veterans Affairs Hospital in Minneapolis. He was a really great colleague and a really great friend, Mr. Drakonja says. The default look on his face was a smile. Yeah. You know who else had a smile? The Joker. Was he a good guy? Was he a nurse at a veterans hospital? No. He's tricking you with the smile, okay? And you've got an illegal immigrant here, Drakonja, probably from some third world shithole, sticking up for this guy. Oh, he had a smile. So did the Joker. How good was he? And we're going to hear from Megyn Kelly here. Megyn Kelly made a little video telling us about what happened, what's going on.
So sick of this bullshit. These are organized agitators who train to disrupt and, in some cases, hurt law enforcement. They go out there looking for confrontations.
You saw the training at work there. The guy had a phone. He's directing traffic. He's getting pepper sprayed in the face. You saw that was military grade training that this guy had. This is a trained ICU nurse trained to disrupt and kill government officers. Clear as day, he had to be neutralized.
They can go viral on their social media, or that they can use as propaganda to turn people against the good guys, the ones who are...
You can't... Exactly. This man was trying to make propaganda. This man was trying to film these ICE officers shooting him in the back 10 times. You can't do that. You can't film these officers shooting you to death 10 times in the back from 10 feet away. That's the real crime, is that he was filming that. That was filmed. The shooting in the back 10 times, that's good. That's our government doing their job. They're killing American citizens. That's good. What's bad is that they're filming it. Don't film what these ICE officers are doing. That's wrong. Shooting people in the face and in the back, unarmed people, Shooting unarmed people in the face, in the back, American citizens, that's good. The problem is the filming. That's what has to stop. That's what we're out there trying to stop.
Trying to rid us of the scourge of child molesting illegals. That's what they want to do. They want to paint themselves as noble and the ICE or the Border Patrol agents as awful and get some sort of confrontation on camera or something that'll make them look silly or bad or brutal.
He looked so silly. Didn't he look silly? I mean, getting shot in the back like that is...
And then when things turn actually bad and brutal and dangerous, and in the case of Renee Good and now this Alex Pretty, all of their remaining enablers rush to social media and the cameras to say, you see?
Exactly. These ICE officers were there minding their own business, pushing women onto the ground, pepper spraying a guy because he had his phone out, and then tackling him and shooting him in the back 10 times. They were minding their own business, and this guy has the gall to try to paint them as thugs and criminals with his phone. For what? For likes? For clicks? These officers are doing their job. You're getting in the way. And you're making it seem like they're doing something wrong by shooting people in the face and in the back and pushing women on the ground that aren't doing anything. That's their job. That's ICE's job.
No. Even if I, Megyn Kelly, went to interrupt law enforcement conducting lawful arrests and law enforcement operations with a loaded gun tucked into the back of my pants, and then I engaged in a physical confrontation with them, where I'm shoving and they're shoving, I'd be in grave danger. Grave danger. Yes, the gun is definitely going to amp up the police officers' reasonable fear for their own safety.
That's right. There's nothing worse in this country than carrying a gun. I mean, that is just illegal. We don't have that right in this country to carry a gun. There's no right in America to carry a gun. There's no reason that man should have been carrying a gun. He's clearly a domestic terrorist. We have freedom in this country. One of them is not carrying a gun. That is nothing. That's not in our Constitution. That's nowhere. He does not have the right to do that.
Even without me having a gun in this scenario, I'd be in grave danger because resisting arrest can lead to very bad things.
And that's what he was doing, resisting arrest, starting a confrontation by directing traffic and filming and trying to help women up that the officers had pushed onto the ground. He was confrontational. We saw that. Now, Trump and federal officials try to blame Minnesota authorities and slain man. Let's see what they say. President Trump moved swiftly on Saturday to try to shift the blame for another shooting death in Minneapolis away from the federal agents involved in the incident, claiming instead that it was the result of inflammatory rhetoric by local officials and the victim himself. And it's true, rhetoric. That's why this happened. It's the rhetoric. That's what really got this going. People's words. That's what's dangerous. Not the ICE agents shooting people in the face and in the back. That's not what the problem was. It's the rhetoric. It's things people say. I listen to people talk all the time. It's almost made me shoot people, I'll be honest with you. I've almost shot a lot of people just listening to what people say sometimes. I'll turn on the news, I'll hear a politician speak, and I'll think, I need to get out there and kill some ICE agents. I never thought of that before, but after hearing the news, after hearing a politician, I think, God, I should really be killing somebody right now. Now, I never would have thought that if it wasn't for the rhetoric. I never would have thought that. But it's like mind control. These people get in your head. It's dangerous. That's why not only should we not have any guns in this country, we shouldn't let people speak freely either. That's very un-American. We got to get rid of the guns. We got to get rid of speech. And we just have to do what our government tells us. That is how you be a good American. You do what your government tells you. You trust your government. You don't carry a gun that you have a permit for concealed. You don't do that. You don't speak freely. That's un-American. You listen to your government. You trust your government. That's what you do. You behave. You stay in line. You fall in line. You don't do this stuff where you're a free citizen with a concealed carry that you have a permit for. You don't listen to people with different opinions because that's dangerous. Rhetoric is what the problem is. Speech, a legally owned firearm, and free speech. That's the problem in this country. Just trust the government and stop going out there and thinking for yourself and defending what you believe in. That is very un-American. Members of Mr. Trump's administration also quickly labeled the man, who Minneapolis police said was 37 and an American citizen, as a domestic terrorist, which he was, and would-be assassin hours after the morning. So he was clearly a would-be assassin. The man had an iPhone. What was that, iPhone 17, iPhone 18? What are they up to now? You don't know what's on that thing. I know, look, as I just said, I've considered killing people before. Everyone thinks about, look, I'm not going to do it, okay? I want to be clear. I'm not going to kill anyone. I'm just saying I've thought about doing it. I've imagined, what would I do if I was to assassinate someone? This is just thoughts I've had. Everyone has these thoughts. And I think, what would I take with me? First thing I think is iPhone 18. That's what I think. Because you got the flashlight, you got the camera, you got Spotify, you got all the new apps. That's how you take someone out, with an iPhone. That's how you do it. Every trained assassin knows that. So, they labeled him a domestic terrorist and would-be assassin hours after the morning shooting, before all the facts were known or an investigation could take place. You didn't really need to it was clear as day on the camera that this man was a domestic terrorist there to assassinate officers. That's why he was trying to help women off the sidewalk that they had pushed down. That's why he was waving a camera around, a phone around. Videos taken by bystanders appeared to contradict the account of federal officers. Again, the video doesn't show this guy committing a massacre or being an assassin, because the ICE officers thankfully neutralized him before he could do that. That's what these people don't seem to understand. In a pair of social media posts, Mr. Trump accused local politicians, including Governor Tim Walz and Jacob Frey, the mayor of Minneapolis, of inciting insurrection in an attempt to divert attention from an unrelated fraud scandal. You know what definitely does not incite an insurrection is sending 3,000 government agents into the streets to shoot Americans in the face. That doesn't incite violence at all. That helps cool things down. And these guys want to stop that from happening. That is inciting an insurrection, actually. Preventing 3,000 armed, untrained soldiers into the streets of our cities to shoot us in the face, trying to stop that, that is inciting insurrection. These people are the only people protecting us. He called immigration and customs enforcement agents patriots who were left unassisted by the local police as they seek to detain what Mr. Trump described as violent immigrants. Now, there's nothing more patriotic than shooting your fellow citizens in the face, than putting your fellow citizen on the ground, on his knees, on his back, 5 guys to 1, and shooting him in the back 10 times. That's patriotism. That's how you show love of country. Don't you see? These ICE officers are just showing how much they love this country by defending us from these iPhone-wielding psychopaths that are trying to commit massacres, like this Preddy guy. This guy tried to commit another Holocaust with an iPhone. And these ICE officers stopped that. Why? Because they're patriots. Because they love this country. And if you can't appreciate that, Love it or leave it. Get out. If they were still here, if these violent illegal immigrants were still here, says Trump, you would see something far worse than you are witnessing today, the president wrote. He's right. If these violent immigrants were still here, they could be murdering American citizens. And we have ICE for that. We don't need these people from other countries doing that. We do that very well ourselves. Thank you very much. Mr. Trump also shared a photo of a firearm that federal officials claim belonged to the man who was killed. The police in Minneapolis said the man, whom law enforcement officials identified as Alex Jeffrey Preddy, had a firearms permit, something only a terrorist would have. It is legal to openly carry a weapon in Minnesota. Well, that I'll have to check on that. I've never heard of that. This is the first I'm hearing that we have the right to own a gun in America. I'm going to have to fact check that after the show. So I will include that in the notes, in the caption of this video. I'm going to check if it's legal to carry a gun in America. I don't think it is. That sounds like something a domestic terrorist would do. That's only someone looking to commit a massacre would do that. Gregory Bovino, the Border Patrol official in charge of agents in Minnesota, claimed that the man was attempting to murder agents. Again, when I think about assassinating and murdering people, I think, let me take my iPhone. That's the first thing I think. Let me get my iPhone out. This is how I'm going to murder people, with my iPhone. That's the tool to do that with. This looks like a situation where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement, Mr. Bovino said at a news conference. And that's right. Think about 9/11. Think about how much more damage could have been done if we had the iPhone on 9/11. If instead of planes, they threw a phone at the tower, that would have been game over, folks. If Osama bin Laden went to Manhattan and flashed his flashlight on his iPhone at the Twin Towers, vaporized immediately. These are weapons of mass destruction, these iPhones. You saw this Preddy guy with a WMD in the middle of the street trying to commit a massacre. And these officers, these brave ICE officers, they disarmed him, they took him down, and they did what needed to be done. This could have been another 9/11. Thankfully, because of these ICE officers, it wasn't. Shortly after the shooting, Stephen Miller, the White House Deputy Chief of Staff, posted messages on social media claiming the man was seeking to murder federal agents. A would-be assassin tried to murder federal law enforcement, and the official Democrat account sides with the terrorists. That's right. And here's President Trump. Let's see what he has to say.
Sir, was Mr. Petty acting as an assassin? Do you think he was acting as an assassin in Minneapolis?
Who is that?
Mr. Petty, your deputy chief of staff said that. You don't think so?
With that being said, you can't have guns. You can't walk in with guns.
What about the Second Amendment?
Listen, you can't walk in with guns.
Second Amendment?
You can't do that.
What?
It's just a very unfortunate incident.
What about the Second Amendment, sir?
Now, I don't know what this Second Amendment thing they keep talking about is. I don't know what. I had to look it up. I had never heard of this Second Amendment that these people keep bringing up. So I looked. Second Amendment: the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now that sounds like a terrorist wrote that. That sounds like a domestic terrorist wrote that. I'm going to do some more digging into this. I'm going to do some more fact checking, but the right of the people to bear and keep arms shall not be infringed. That sounds like something Osama bin Laden would say. That sounds like an Al-Qaeda talking point. That's not the America I know. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's not how our country was founded. I'll tell you that. I don't know what this is.
From some of your own officials that Alex Preddy is a domestic terrorist or an assassin.
Well, I haven't heard that, but certainly he shouldn't have been carrying a gun. But hey, look, bottom line, everybody in this room, we view that as a very unfortunate incident. Okay, everyone, unless you're a stupid person, very, very unfortunate.
Right. It's very unfortunate.
I don't like that he had a gun. I don't like that he had 2 fully loaded magazines. That's a lot of bad stuff. And despite that, I say that's a very unfortunate.
What do you think of some Republicans saying?
You say that you are the.
I don't like that he had a gun either. I don't think that that's something we do here in America. I don't think that that should be allowed. It is unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. I don't want to seem heartless. It's unfortunate that we have government officials shooting American citizens in the street. But they prevented a terrorist attack. They prevented another 9/11 here. This man had a phone. Okay? He had a phone.
It's pretty unusual, but nobody knows when they saw the gun, how they saw the gun, everything else. Bottom line, it was terrible. Both of them were terrible. The other was terrible, too.
No one knows when they saw the gun. I mean, we have it on video that they took the gun off of him and threw it away. But that could be doctored. That could be AI. We don't know. And again, Preddy could have secret powers. We don't know what these terrorists are up to. He could have telekinesis powers. His phone could have an app on it that maybe picks up the gun and shoots the officer. We don't know what this man was capable of.
And I'm not sure about his parents, but I know her parents were big Trump fans. Makes me feel bad anyway, but I mean, I guess you could say even worse. They were tremendous Trump people, Trump fans, and you know, the daughter was, she was, I don't know if you could say radicalized, maybe not. I don't know, but I hate to see it. I hate to see that.
You bring up the term.
Now that just breaks my heart. You know, it's one thing for an American citizen to be shot dead in the street by government officials. It's another thing for them to be tremendous Trump fans and be shot dead. I don't think any of us intended that to happen to a tremendous Trump fan. The other people are fine. They're fine. But the tremendous Trump fans, we can't be doing that. These are salt of the earth Americans, and it breaks my heart when a tremendous Trump fan gets killed. These other people kind of had it coming, if we're being honest. They had it coming, but it is certainly heartbreaking when it's a tremendous Trump fan. I think we could all agree with that. There's a difference between when someone dies and they don't support our president. You know, that they kind of had it coming. You have it coming if you don't support the U.S. government. If you don't support the U.S. government, you kind of deserve to die, you know? It sounds bad, but it's true. If you don't support the U.S. government, you deserve to die. But a tremendous Trump fan who's just minding his own business, just loving Trump and loving our government, was shot and killed? That gives me pause. That really makes me rethink things. So God bless the tremendous Trump fans. Everyone else, I hope you die. What can I say? It's just the kind of guy I am. You know, I'm an American. I'm a patriot. I love this country. And if you agree with me, I want you to live and I want you to be happy. And if you don't agree with me, you have to die. There's really no middle ground here. If you don't agree with me, you deserve death. But if you agree with me, I love you. You're great. You're a great person. People who think like me, they're great people. They agree with things that I think. They're right about everything. I care about those people. I care about their lives. I want them to live. If you're going to disagree with me, I mean, really? What are you even doing? Why are you even in this country? That's not what this country is about. This country is about think like I think and shut up. That's what the American that I know is about. Think how I tell you to think and shut up. We don't do different perspectives in this country. That's for foreigners. That's for foreign countries. Here in America, you trust your government, you shut up, you don't carry a gun, you don't speak. You listen to what your government tells you and you shut up. And you love it. You love it. Here we have a tweet here. And a treat. It is a treat, too. A. Gene Robinson says, I didn't want to do it, but I have to. You didn't see this yet. This guy has a bombshell video here that we have not seen. This video is going to change everything that we thought about this shooting. You didn't see this yet. The narrative that he was just filming and the officers got angry is false. The narrative that he was only trying to protect 2 women is also false. He, along with others, were actively interfering. Thank God this guy dropped this video because none of us would have ever known if it wasn't for this. Let's check this video out here. Can you believe it? That man was directing traffic with an iPhone in his hand. He deserved to die, folks. He deserved to die. What did the tweet say? He was actively interfering. When I think of the great massacres of our time, the great terrorist attacks. This is like the Oklahoma City bombing here. This guy directing traffic in the street. Anything could have happened. What if he's directing traffic in the car driving, tells him to go one way, he goes another, hits somebody? You don't know. Guy's not trained to direct traffic. Anything could happen. He's filming. We all know, I've covered it many times, the many weapons the phone carries. You don't know what's going to happen. Let's watch the video again. Look at him directing traffic. He doesn't know where he's sending that. Oh, he's doing this. That could mean anywhere. That car could speed 60 miles an hour into a storefront, kill people. You're not trained to do this. The man is interfering. Look at him. He's in the middle of the street. The car can't even get by him. The man's huge. If that video is not a bombshell, I don't know what is. I want to thank this guy, A. Gene Robinson, for dropping this video. If we hadn't seen him directing traffic with an iPhone, we would never have known that he was actively interfering with law enforcement and that he was a threat to the community. Here we have some tweets responding. You forgot to add in the context all the commotion created by the insurgence of whistleblowing and everything else. Sensory overload leads to itchy trigger fingers. Protesters way more at fault than the agents. Thank you. You are correct. I agree. Whistleblowing? Have you ever heard a whistle? Anytime I hear a whistle, I think I need to shoot somebody. My finger just starts itching. You ever be at a football game and they blow the whistle? I'm reaching for my gun. I don't know about you. I get my fingers just going, it's going off. I can't even think. When I hear a whistle, all my reason goes out the window. I think, who do I have to kill? Did they just blow the whistle? Somebody's getting shot. That's what I think. It's a human reaction to a whistle. It's sensory overload. These protesters overloaded the senses of these agents. And how are they even supposed to think straight at that point? I'm pretty sure it's been medically proven that when you hear a whistle blow, that gets your mind going, I got to kill somebody. That's the first thing I think. I'm in danger. There's a whistle. You've never been to a sporting event and heard those whistles? Why do you think there's all these fights at sporting events? It's the whistles. They're driving the fans crazy. Absolutely mad. They're on sensory overload. The protesters are way more at fault than the agents. Way more. Because those agents never would have done this if it wasn't for the goddamn whistles. I don't know why more people on trial for murder don't say, you know, they were blowing whistles. That's why I killed them. OJ should have used that. He played football for years. He should have used that defense. He should have said, I was having flashbacks of the game. I was hearing the whistles. That's why I killed Nicole. It's not me. It's the referees. So, yes, the protesters way more at fault than the agents here. These agents are just trying to do their job by tackling women on the street who are doing nothing and shooting a guy in the back 10 times. That's just their job. They're trying to do that, and they wouldn't have taken it to that extreme if it wasn't for the goddamn whistles. If they weren't in fear for their life from the iPhone in the man's hand, from the gun that wasn't even on him anymore, that he could have lifted up with his mind through telekinesis. Maybe the man could have hulked up. We've all seen these Marvel movies. Maybe these officers thought those Marvel movies were real. We don't know. That maybe they just watched Stranger Things. I've said all this. I know it sounds crazy, but we've seen Candace Owens. We know that there are special people out there with powers that can do things like this. Charlie Kirk was one of them, and this domestic terrorist might have been one of them. So I agree here. And here he says, you are correct. Make all kinds of noise beating drums. Another thing that drums, have you ever heard a drum? Nothing gets me in the mood to commit a massacre more than when I hear drums. I mean, it's totally human. Every time I listen to rock music, I think about killing people. I've never put on a Metallica record and not almost killed someone. Why? Lars Ulrich. That's why. Okay? John Bonham. Have we ever put these guys on trial? I know Bonham's dead, but guys inspired a lot of murder with those drums. All right? Dave Grohl, this guy's out here. Thankfully, he's just singing and playing guitar now. But beating of drums, that's the real culprit here. It's not the agents that shot and killed people. It's the people beating drums that gave them sensory overload that made them shoot people. Anyone who's ever listened to a rock band knows listening to that kind of noise makes you kill people. But you don't believe it? Put on some Soundgarden, see what happens. Tell me how many people you kill after you listen to Black Hole Sun. It's not safe. And these agents are innocent. It's the goddamn protesters and their whistles and their drums for why these people are dead. And here we have a response. Word salad, says Parker. He was a domestic terrorist. He's dead now. I don't care. He says, correct. This is the kind of love that I love seeing in this country. These are the patriots here. I don't care that my fellow citizen is dead. I don't care that my fellow citizen is dead. That's the kind of American patriotism we need in this country. This is the love that we're missing. We need to get back to this kind of stuff. You know, let's stop all this fighting and come together on wishing death upon our fellow citizens. These are the kind of Americans that I respect. He was a domestic terrorist. He's dead now. I don't care. That's right. That's love. That's love of country right there. Your fellow citizen was murdered and you're happy. We're not going to survive as a country if we don't start villainizing our fellow Americans to the point that we're happy they're dead. If you disagree with me, I'm happy you're dead. That's where we need to be. That's how our country thrives. And I just am so happy to see patriots like this finally sticking up for America in this way, finally showing some heart. Hey, you disagree with me politically, you get out there with an iPhone and you say things I disagree with, I'm glad you're dead. Why? Because this is America. And I love my country. And loving America means silencing people you disagree with. It means not believing in the Second Amendment, not believing in the First Amendment. That's how you love America. And you wish death upon people who disagree with you. So I just loved the humanity here in these tweets here saying, I don't care, this man is dead. That's the kind of love that I want to see in this country that I feel like we're missing. And hopefully we're getting more of that, because we're watching citizens get killed in the street. And a lot of people like this, a lot of patriots are celebrating. And this is a good thing because it's showing the love we have for country, that people who disagree with us are bad, they deserve to die, and we're happy when they're dead. That is how we bring the country together. I think we see what's going on here. We see how these terrorists are attacking law enforcement with their iPhones and their whistles and their drums. They're dangerous. These ICE officers, they're carrying guns and shooting people in the face and in the back. That is safety. That is law and order. Those people are protecting us. The people who are putting us in danger are the people speaking, the people legally carrying a gun, and the people blowing whistles and banging drums. So hopefully we don't see any more of that. Congratulations to these ICE officers for defending themselves, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.